in the biblical world and antiquity, and I'm sure it's more than just those in this region, the man um, conceives, the women just carry. They're just vessels. So they imagine that the seed of the man is actually what makes the child. And like the woman just somehow is like putting it in the oven for 9 months and like, oh, but if a woman can't get pregnant, right? There's a whole lot of weird stuff that goes into this. But if the woman can't get pregnant, it could be a demon, a female demon. Tell me there's not some misogyny going on in antiquity here that
The
like,
Bible and misogyny? No.
no, I know.
Rubbish.
Why am I'm trying to refuse the truth of Jesus
Yeah.
here.
What sin do you love so much? Why do you hate
Right.
God, Derek?
Right. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. But,
Yeah. No, but
but yeah, the image, you get the point about the image.
yeah.
As far as the penis goes, and I had to just make that point. Notice the rabbis need to come up with, was Adam circumcised? Because they need God to also be circumcised, because they want the idea of circumcision to match the deity. And they've rationalized saying, yes, he was. The reason that they say that he was, and I'm looking in here, was this in Dissecting the Divine or was this in his Grounded? I can't remember exactly. Oh, no, this would be in the penis section, right? I'll just read what I put in the script here. Today, we might think this question is silly, but the ancients thought it was serious. Did God create Adam circumcised or not? The answer would tell us as much about God's penis as it would Adam's. I know. You might be saying Abraham was the first guy to get snip of the old foreskin, but in fact, similar language describing Noah as tamim, which just means he's worthy to walk with God as a whole or unblemished person. So rabbis had clever ways to solve these problems. How about Adam, though? They say he was born from the earth in the image of God, so of course he was circumcised. This notion has ancient roots, as Francesca expresses. And then she goes in and says God's direct forerunner, the late Bronze Age deity El, appears to have undergone circumcision in a ritual preparing him for marriage and sex with the two goddesses he encountered at the seashore. Remember the one where he masturbates, gets an erection to heaven? And then these two goddesses are like, "Oh my god, look at your PD! I want to like mess with it." And then he takes them back, and next thing you know, he knocks up two goddesses. Astaroth was not so happy, it seems, with this whole idea of just bringing in these new goddess chicks who are now getting him, babies and all that. I'm just saying that this is the world you're looking at when you're reading this
Yeah.
stuff. So in this Ugaritic myth, El sits enthroned, equipped with the phallic symbols of old age and infertility. In his hand, the staff of sterility. In his hand, the staff of widowhood. El's reversal of the lifelessness held in his hands is revealed in a ritual asserting his sexual fecundity. His foreskin appears to be removed, and the wound, wrapped by ritual specialists associated with the careful cultivation of sacred vineyards. Those who prune the vine pruned him. Those who bind the vine bound him. They let his tendril fall like a vine, like a budding vine clipped into fruitfulness. So El's circumcised penis brings forth children in his new marriages. And notice something. As soon as he tells Abraham to circumcise, in this whole picture of circumcise and all this, he tells him, "You will be fruitful, and you will have a seed. The number you can't even count. The stars of heaven and the sand of the sea. Like you are about to have so many freaking kids, Abraham." He's circumcised. So this is a fertility. It seems some type of cultic fertility practice that the idea of if I circumcise probably is going to help them have magical seed that'll make them have more children and offspring. But he had a
It's
son, according to a priest named Sanchoniathon or something to that effect. Eusebius in the 4th century is quoting Philo of Byblos in the 1st century, who was able to translate the ancient Phoenician language, Canaanite, into Greek. So he's Hellenizing it, but he's bringing the names of the god. El is one of them. He has a son named Yedud. It's literally Iedoud. I mean, Oud. Yeah. Iedoud. He's his only begotten son, who El sacrifices and then circumcises his penis. So, like, you have the myth of Abraham in this ancient Phoenician god named El, who sacrifices his only begotten son and then turns around and circumcises his dick.